You've said a number of times you want to evolve the offense. What's the need in that? Why change much of anything from what you did last year?
Yeah, I think, just being in this league for a year now and having a really good feel for how people are going to play you, right? We're always trying to attack from a multitude of different ways, from a tempo standpoint, a spacing standpoint. Now, how do we grow and change as people have a year on us? There's going to be 4 new defensive coordinators that we got to play against. So now how will they attack us? And just continue to create variation, whether it's in tempo, whether it's formationally, but continue to create different ways, essentially at the end of the day, to get our playmakers the ball. As we study people in the offseason, we're going to continue to grow. What are people like us doing? What's going on in the NFL? What are they doing that's being successful? I think you got to continue to evolve and change. We look different a year ago than we did our last year at the previous place. And then at the end of it, who are our guys? There's a bunch of new guys here. How can we get those guys the football and be successful? So I think we're going to continue to evolve, continue to change, and with the core of it staying the same.
You talked about finding your guys. Obviously, receiver, you got a couple of starters to replace a lot of guys that maybe haven't played a lot of football. What are you looking for out of some of those returning guys and also those 4 freshmen there at those spots?
Yeah, really, we didn't play a ton of guys there. As the season went, we kind of settled in with who we felt really comfortable with, and I thought we got better when we did that. Now we got to replace a couple guys. Those freshmen have been really, really impressive. Like Chaz Nimrod stands out. He's a guy through 3 days that said, get me the ball. Jimmy Holiday has made incredible growth. Jimmy Callaway has made incredible growth. Ramel Keaton has made incredible growth. I was just telling Bill walking in here what a difference a year makes. These guys know what they're doing now, so they actually have a chance to show you what they're capable of. I think a year ago they were still learning and playing slow. It was really hard to evaluate at that point. So we're looking for 6 to 7 guys on the perimeter that can get open and make a difference for us. There's really no secret to that part of it. If we have more than that, man, we'll be cooking. But right now we're trying to get to 6 and 7 outside guys that can help us do that. I don't know if I answered your question, but.
What input does Hinden have in the offense right now?
Well, you know who the guy is going into it, so it helps you as you game plan. Him and Joe really aren't drastically different in terms of skill set, so we haven't had to change drastically there when that change happened. But in terms of input in the offense, he now has a really good understanding of it. He'll speak up. He's not a big ask you for things, more tell you what he doesn't want. Same input he had a year ago. If there's something he doesn't like, we won't do it. Obviously, it's all about him being comfortable back there.
Alex, I know it's early, but what are your early impressions of Taven Jackson?
Yeah, Taven Jackson just had a really, really good day. Taven is really, really fun to watch. He's a really good athlete. He's got a really quick release. He's really grasped the offense through 3 days well. It'll be interesting to see as things pile up, as you go into 4, 5, 6, pads on today, what he actually looks like. It'll be interesting when we scrimmage next week and coaches are off the field, what he looks like. But really a superb athlete, has a really good understanding, has a really quick trigger. Everything we kind of hoped he would be, he certainly has been that so far. Now we got to continue to put more on him, and he's got to continue to grow. We talked with him just consistently stringing days together. Can he be better tomorrow than he was today? And I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but wipe it clean, play the next play. Wipe it clean, play the next play. He doesn't seem to be bothered by a whole lot. He's just kind of having fun. And that kid won a ton of games in high school. He's a winner, which is exactly what you want to recruit at that spot.
You mentioned Chaz a little bit. How much of a learning curve is there for those freshmen at receiver?
It's huge for them to be here early, obviously. They just went through 7 weeks going into spring ball of install. That's what's been awesome. The NCAA allowing us now, whatever that was, 4 or 5 years ago, to actually be able to be in a classroom with them in the off season. They've been superb. All of those freshmen have been awesome in terms of they've got the base fundamental deal. But similar to what we're talking about with Taven, now they've got to string days together. This is the first time for them. There's class, there's study table, and now there's football on top of it. There's meetings. So it's just for them learning what it is to be a college football player. Being here, being early is awesome because they've got a feel for what that's actually like. Just all of it at the same time, waking up early and eating, and I got to go to sleep and I got to study. And I think those guys, there's such a level of maturity. I'm so excited about that freshman class we signed on our side of the ball. There's this level of maturity, level of consistency with that crew. They came in here to play, and so that's how they've attacked it. There's I know I'm using a lot of different words, but there's like a professionalism among that group that's really, really superb. It's been really cool to see.
Coach, how have you seen Princeton fan Jacob Warren grow from last year?
Well, both of those guys, Jacob and Princeton, both of them now have a year in the system. That's a tough spot to play in this offense. You're moving around, you're playing a bunch of different places. Same as everybody else. There's a year of it now under their belt. A year ago, you coached so much scheme and just understanding what's actually happening. Now they can play fast. Jacob's gotten bigger. He's up to 254. Princeton's in the 240s. Like their bodies are right. They're both healthy. They have a really good understanding of what's going on. In that room for us right now, we really just have to find a 3 and a 4. That's what we didn't have a year ago, and we struggled at times because of that. Being able to get big and play in bigger sets at times cost us a couple times. So beyond those two, it's finding a 3 and a 4 there that way we can get big and change formations based on personnel there.
Alex, what do you want to grow in the run game? I mean, obviously there's a lot of talk about your passing attack and big plays, but when you look at the evolution of your offense from year 1 to year 2, what's the next step in your run game?
Yeah, I think being able to execute it into multiple different looks. Again, because of how we play, people play as different than what you see on film a lot of the time. It's being able to adjust within the game, being able to get to the right things earlier in games and being able to adjust earlier in games. The quarterback run game, with a healthy Hinden, we look different. People got to defend us different. With a banged up Hinden, you take that dimension out of the game and we're uniquely different. So continue to develop the quarterback run game, continuing to keep Hinden healthy. That gives us another dimension. And then just us up front, as we continue to build to what should look like a starting 5, those guys playing together is going to be huge in the run game.
If Justin Williams gets carries, he gets into the rotation, is that more dependent on him physically or how quickly he can pick up the scheme?
I think both for Justin. Justin, again, has been here now for 2 months. He's still figuring out how we're playing. There's a lot of things going on back there, and there's not a lot of time to think about it. So just reps, different than playing wide out. You're in a box, and there's just bodies everywhere. So for him, his 3 days have been like touch and go. He's still trying to figure it all out. But for him, if he can show the ability that he can protect the quarterback beyond running the football. Can you protect the quarterback before we'll ever hand you the ball? Because that's the one spot that, as a young guy at running back, that you'll screw it up really, really fast. So if he can protect the quarterback, his skill set is awesome. He's already big. He's already strong. He's got great vision. He's a good running back. The protection side of it is what's got to come for him, for any young running back, but specifically for him right now, it's kind of swimming.
Coach, speaking of the young running backs, just what have you seen from the group as a whole so far this spring?
Yeah, similar to the quarterbacks, like just really healthy right now, which is really good. It's the same deal for us there. We got to find the rotation because of our tempo, because of how we play. You really got to have 4 guys that are ready to go. That was so huge for Justin to get here early. Laneith looks like a different player. He's finally healthy. Jalen Wright is healthy. Like Jalen Wright in year 2 should make monumental gains. So for us, we still waiting on one to get here in Dylan, but they have taken a huge step. Again, same coach, same system, and then getting healthy. You should see a huge jump there. In terms of what the rotation looks like, I think those guys know there's a bunch of open jobs there. They're fighting like crazy to get in the rotation.
With just compared to last year, you had unknowns everywhere, but a quarterback particularly. How different does the spring look for you as a coach with a guy like Hinden back, where you know what he can do and you can sort of build the offense and continue to build it around him based on what he did last year?
Makes it a lot easier. You're rotating less. And you're being less political about it. So there's less meetings with me and Joey. We last year would have meetings daily on the rotation and what plays you can run with certain guys, and it was like a Wordle. I think that's what's big right now, trying to figure it out. It's certainly easier right now knowing who the 1 is, who the 2 is. But I'll say Joe has made monumental strides too. Joe has gotten his body right. He's really put a ton into it. So having a healthy and all-in Joe Milton also helps, because it helps Hinden, and the competition between those two is really, really fun. So those 2 guys, I mean, you talk about pros, they coach each other harder than anybody else. And so just having those 2 guys bringing Hinden along and Gaston and Navy and that crew, that room is really fun right now. A year ago it was like those guys are competing, and you could say they're competing and really helping each other. I don't know that it was necessarily that way. So just having Hinden, he knows he's a leader. Those guys look to him as a leader. He's got to continue to grow as a leader too, but it's made it much easier.
Coach, I saw you working with the wide receivers quite a bit there. What's it like working along with Kelsey Pope now?
Yeah, it's been fun. I've worked along Kelsey's side for a year now. It's so cool to see Kelsey kind of come out of his shell now. You know, there's like this level of confidence that he's always had, but you're always kind of in the background, you know, and you're kind of there to help, and just seeing him come out of his shell has been awesome. And we interviewed Kelsey at the previous place, so I've known Kelsey for a long time, but it's been just incredibly fun. And Cody and I are really close. I'm super excited for Cody and his opportunity, and that was a really fun year working with him, because that's a really, really smart young football coach there too. But how Cody groomed Kelsey, and now you see Kelsey light up with this confidence. Those kids love him. He's so easy to communicate with and talk to. Man, that group has just taken monumental strides, and Kelsey deserves a ton of credit for that.
I know there's competition all over the offensive line, but talk about specifically right tackle, the guys you're looking at there.
Yeah, you know, we've played a lot with Darnell playing at right. That's kind of his natural home. That's where he's kind of always wanted to be. Played a lot with him and really messing with the left tackle spot. And that's kind of natural too for JJ. You know, we've moved Dane around a bunch. I think Dane can help us inside some as well. So that's a daily conversation piece. You know, is that guy here? When is Gerald Mincy going to grasp it fast enough to actually be able to compete? And Gerald has made strides too. But we need JJ and Gerald and Dane to all take a huge step. And that's not saying Darnell doesn't need to take a step. Darnell just has a bunch of experience now. He's confident. He is the easiest one to move back to his kind of natural home and allow us to get those guys to compete at the left tackle spot. And it may end up being that Darnell moves back and we end up over there. But I'd say Mintz and JJ continuing to grow. JJ's got a leg up. And we were hoping JJ coming in a year ago from junior college that he would be ready to go. He had a spring season under his belt, but he got here end of July, like bullets flying. He really didn't have a chance. So now JJ with an off season, JJ with a strength off season, a nutrition off season. He seems to be really confident right now too. But at the same time, bringing Gerald along to where he can have a chance to compete as well. But I think we'll get there by practice 15 right now. It's super, super early.
Alex, you're talking about Kelsey. Can you remember a time when you kind of got your first, Power Fives chance, and just, seeing similarities there with him as far as just kind of taking making that move from up to the Power 5 level?
Yeah, I don't think there's a difference in levels of coaching. If you're asking about mine, I went from coaching defense to offense, so I had no idea what was going on. I was coaching the running backs at Toledo and literally had no idea what was happening. So that was fun. Probably would have been an interesting mic'd up segment. But I had a guy in Matt Campbell that took me under his wing and taught me and gave me confidence. For Kelsey's coach, I mean, he's been a full-time coach for 5 years coming into this. I don't think that matters. Where it's different at the Power 5 level and certainly at this level is the recruiting. So it's not just, man, you got this position group of these guys like, hey, you better go sign 3 to 4 a year that are dudes. So for him, it's how do I manage the position and the recruiting. I think that's why he's here at 5 a.m. and doesn't leave till midnight, is because he's trying to figure all of that out. But just for me, having the confidence because somebody gave me the confidence to do it and help bring me along, I'm trying to be that for Kels. And literally he's not a player, but every time something is good, Like, hey, bro, you're doing a great job. Every time something is jacked up, hey, bro, like, we got to fix this. And he's handled it all with such professionalism and class. He's a high-end, intelligent young guy that can communicate extremely well, and that's really all you need. But being here for a year, what's helping him is he doesn't have to learn the system. He knows the system. So now he can just continue to grow. He's been really fun to watch, like, come out of his shell, and he's just got a fun personality. You guys will get around him, like, super funny, and got some Alabama jokes. Like, there's some funny stuff in there. So he's been fun. But it's been, again, for me, more than anything, just continuing to give him the confidence to be able to just go do his job. Coach Hype has done a great job. I think when you get an opportunity like that at this level, you get an instant bit of confidence, but there's always a little bit of doubt, right? Like, just with any of us, there's human nature to have doubt. And as long as people keep pushing you and continue to push you forward, he's had a ton of success recruiting early too right now, which I think will just continue to give him confidence and grow in that regard.